Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
He's got the size. He's got the talent. I just say LeBron James.
When he hurt his hand, John Mateer was 80-1 to win the Heisman.
If you like Oregon, just go ahead and lay it. If you like Indiana, maybe just play him on the money line.
He can also hurt you with his feet, but you can tell he's very intelligent, knows what he's looking at.
He couldn't even grip the ball last week.
And we're going to look back at that and be like, how the hell did that game happen?
My power razor right here, baby.
They did not profile like a 10-win team. They profiled like 7-win type teams. I can't wait to let 18 to 22-year-olds emotionally ruin me.
I made a call, to Vegas. I said, look, we actually need the favorite here.
Welcome again. Bear Bets presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook is the best place to bet touchdowns this season and this week. New customers, you bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets if that first bet wins. Download the DK Sportsbook app and use the code BearBets. BearBets, 2 words when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Ripping through the season here, guys. Sammy P, Geoff Schwartz here with me, as always. Headed towards the middle of October, and couple of matchups seem bigger than most, but I think we're at that time of the year now where we can kind of assess where we are in terms of a lot of not only national title race, but the Heisman race as well as something coming into the year where we kind of joked about it last week on Big Noon that Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier and Arch Manning were the top 3 choices, and now they have that second weekend in December wide open. So if you were to jump in this market right now, Geoff, is there a bet that you'd be looking to make?
We have to detach the wagers we already have on Carson Beck out of this discussion, right? Because you're asking, right now, who are you wagering on? And the answer is Carson Beck, right? When you look at Miami's schedule and look at his performance so far this season, what we think is going to happen for Miami, which is, I think we all think 12-0. Plus, he has some young wide receivers that are going to get better throughout the season. And Mario's known for some style points every now and then. Like, they'll use him and throw the ball down the field, and they'll try to get him that Heisman, the attention toward Miami. Sammy, I think Miami and Carson Beck is the right choice for Heisman right now. I know the number. You have a better number. We all have better numbers. But if you're jumping this market now, he's the safest bet.
I think so. Hope so. Not to pass post on our own program, but we did talk about it in the summer.
Exactly.
Prices in the 30 range. Look, the big game this week for the Heisman, because it's been a very topsy-turvy market, the big game is obviously Oregon, Indiana. If the Hoosiers can pull the upset, which I don't think is going to happen, the 15-1s on Fernando Mendoza are gone. Those are just gone. He's going to be the favorite. He'll be the guy to beat. You talked about Dante Moore a couple of weeks ago. Do you guys want to take a quick guess? There's a straw poll right now at The Athletic. Moore is 1. Mendoza is 2. Take a guess who number 3 is by the voters. Not the bettors, the voters.
Jeremiah Smith.
He's a defensive player from Miami.
Is it
Ruben Bain. And you can find him at 150-1.
I just don't see that happening. I mean, we had a defensive guy last year, essentially win last year. We played both ways. But Ruben Bain has to have how many sacks as a defensive lineman? Like, pressure rate is, and he's fantastic. I want to make that clear. Very, very good football player. Look at him, fantastic football player.
Top 3 pick.
But pressure rate is not something the Heisman voters are going to vote on. Like, how many sacks, Bear, does he have to win this award? Saying Dante Moore, let's say that Oregon loses this weekend and Mendoza loses at Penn State. There's a way that these guys get knocked off, I think. How many sacks does Bain have to be voted on to win the championship?
Oh, God.
To win the Heisman, I should say.
15, probably, somewhere around there.
Yeah, right?
It would seem something like that. I agree. I think ultimately maybe Bain is the best player in the country. And I just worry about last year you had the defensive guy win. And I think there will be voters out there who you see a quarterback of potentially a 13-0 Miami winning the ACC for the first time ever. Beck, the redemption story coming off of the injury. And I think that's probably how they'll vote. And they're not going to want to go 2 years in a row with a non-conventional type player. Now, maybe Ruben Beck, number 1 pick in the draft, maybe you could interest me in that. But
yeah.
I do wonder if there is going to be a little bit of vote splitting there. But that's why I don't think it's an opportunity to jump in on either Julian Sayin or Jeremiah Smith, because I think you're probably going to get a vote split there. Maybe Jeremiah will get more, but I guess if I had to jump in on someone right now who I don't have any skin in the game, again, I think Becker or Moore will be the guy. I think Mateer would be the guy.
Love Mateer.
Only because if he does play this week and if he is healthy and they rip through that SEC schedule at the end of the year and they get to Atlanta, I think he ultimately could be the guy, Sammy.
When he hurt his hand, John Mateer was 80-1 to win the Heisman. You check the books right now, you're lucky to find a 10 or a 15. They don't even know if he's playing, Geoff, and they're betting John Mateer like crazy this week.
How much will the win-loss record of Oklahoma matter with their schedule? Like, can he still play well in losses and win the Heisman?
I don't think. I think that's what would be creating a little bit of hesitation for me, because if they lose this weekend, and then you look at the final 5 games of the regular season where they have all of those ranked SEC teams, I don't know if Oklahoma 9-3 doesn't get to the SEC title game, like if that's going to be good enough.
All right, when we come back, Ohio State head coach Ryan Day joins the program. Stay tuned.
Now we're happy to be joined by the head coach of the number 1 team in the country, reigning national champion, Ohio State Buckeyes, Ryan Day. And I'm going to start you off here with a little bit of a news flash. I'm sure you've been paying attention every week, but there's a lot of pressure on you. Week 1, we had Mario Cristobal on. They beat Notre Dame. Week 2, we had Matt Campbell on. They beat Iowa. Week 3, we had Joey McGuire on. They went to Utah and won. We had Carson Beck on the week before Florida State. They won. So there's a lot of pressure on you Saturday out there in Champaign. Like, what are the, kidding aside, what is it about the Illinois offense and Altmaier and that passing game that leads you and Matt Patricia to be concerned this weekend?
Yeah, it's great to be on. I think the first thing is that this is an experienced quarterback in a league right now that has some really good quarterbacks. I mean, he's one of the best there is, and he's won a lot of games. He's played a lot, and so going on the road in a difficult environment, this is a big challenge for our team. And I think they have a really good set of receivers, and he makes really quick decisions. He does a nice job with the RPO, gets the ball out quick. He can also hurt you with his feet. But you can tell he's very intelligent, knows what he's looking at, very accurate as well.
Coach, I think I saw a smile from Matt Patricia the other day. Finally saw a smile there. You brought in all this talent. He gets to work with it. What's that combination been like to watch from your vantage point?
Yeah, it's been great. Matt is a great person and very great coach. He's done a nice job of building trust in a short period of time. And walking into an environment where, we had all the assistant coaches were already in place. So rare that you would have somebody come in that just completely buys into the culture and the whole coaching staff. And the chemistry there has been great. But I think his relationship with the players has been excellent. He spends time with them. He had credibility instantly when he came in the door, just with what he had done in his career. But as a person, he's done a great job of connecting and building trust in the locker room. So that's been great. And then I think they're playing with good confidence right now. I think they believe in the system, each week putting the guys in a situation to be successful, but they have to go put it on the field. And you're seeing that with the way we practice and then ultimately how we play on Saturdays.
When people talk about the defense having more of an NFL schematic mindset, what does that mean for you to sort of explain to us, like how your defense operates that way?
Well, I think the game is changing like it always does. It always changes. But, when back, a couple of decades ago, you saw a lot of, 2-back pro style offense. And then, when Chip and the innovators of the tempo and the spread offense came to be, it changed to that. And then, defenses went to sort of no huddle defense. And now when they change the game with the clock changes in terms of the clock running after first downs, the coach to player communication, there's just been some different changes that are now kind of swinging back to the NFL model. And I think because of that, you're seeing, more situational things. You're seeing different groupings. And so, from Matt, I think it's just natural for him to see the game from that point of view because, he has such a great background of that. And being able to adapt to the multiple formations, the multiple groupings, the bigger groupings, and then also just situationally.
We've seen a lot of instances this year, teams with young quarterbacks going on the road, not only struggling, but losing games. A couple weeks back, you went to Seattle and UW in what is a very tricky environment, and your team seemed to pass with flying colors. Was there anything that you learned about your team that you weren't quite sure about going there and just putting up an unbelievable defensive performance and just really just grinding out long drives throughout the game to get the win?
Well, I think the first thing was, the game didn't start the way that we would have liked it. We didn't convert on the fourth down, then we get the ball back and fumble the punt return. So major adversity early in the game. Their crowd was in it, not the start that we were looking for, but there was no panic. I thought we did a good job, towards the end of the first half and the beginning of the second. So that was all good. I thought we made some in-game adjustments, but for our team to be able to show that, we can play a bunch of different ways. And I felt like at times during the game, we controlled the game, especially in the second half with the time of possession, the way that we were moving the ball, and then we were able to finish some drives. But there was some penalties in a red area. We had to convert on some third and longs down in the red zone. And so we came out of the game feeling like it was good to get a win on the road like that, but we also left a lot on the bone. And so came back and really worked hard the next week. And so here we go. A big challenge here going on the road. I look at it as a top 10 matchup. I take the Indiana game and just throw it out because when you look at everything else, it doesn't match up to that game. So we know what we're up against. A very good team, really good coach on the road in the conference against an experienced quarterback.
If somebody's been under a rock, Coach, and hasn't seen Jeremiah Smith, how would you describe him to that person?
I just say LeBron James. I don't know how else to do it. Just somebody who, is very unique. He's got the size, he's got the talent, but he also has the discipline and the skill set. And typically, the more talented you are, it's harder to have discipline and harder to have skill. But he's as disciplined a player as we have on our team, and he's very, very skilled. Big, strong, fast, can catch the ball well, understands how to run routes, practices at a high level, and is extremely competitive.
Coach, you had to replace multiple NFL offensive linemen, 2 guys in the first round. You replaced an offensive line coach. Your offensive line has played well so far this year. They're certainly going to be in the running for the Joe Moore Award. How does that offensive line come together so quickly?
Well, last year when we lost Simmons and then Donovan had to move out to left tackle, and then before the Indiana game at the end of the year, we lose the Remington Award winner at center. So Carson HEISMAN had to step up in a big way, and then Luke Montgomery had to step up into those roles. And so they made the playoff run and built a lot of confidence in themselves. And so going into this season, although maybe they hadn't played as much, Carson had the year before, but they had a lot of confidence coming into the season. And then Austin Saravelt, who also played during that run, moved out to tackle. And so these guys had played a decent amount of football. Tegris played football before. And then Phil Daniels was able to step in and help us as well here at right tackle. So that, and we also have some other guys behind them that we're slowly starting to get into the game more and more, because we know we're going to have to play depth. It's going to get challenged like it did late in the season. But when those guys are able to play against those top 10 teams during the playoff run, again, so much of it is confidence, knowing that you can do it. And these guys have been able to start the season the right way.
We're going to let you go here on a tough one and save the toughest question for last. What's a more fun experience, listing the national championship trophy or hanging out with a group of guys at Saratoga, watching them root home the final leg of a show parlay or a pick 5?
Ooh, both great memories. Probably within that year, probably both in my top 10. Making sure, I think we finished by a nose there too, and that was a lot of fun. Great memories. But it's about having these shared experiences, and when you win a title like that after everything that we had kind of been through with your players and your coaches, that's a lot of fun. But getting together for a weekend at Saratoga is a lot of fun too with your boys.
It is, and hopefully I'll be able to make it back up there to see everyone this year. Travel hasn't worked for me, unfortunately, but we'll make it back, and looking forward to seeing you this weekend, Coach. Appreciate you taking the time out of a busy week to join us, Ryan Day. Thanks for joining us on Bear Bets.
All right, you got it, guys. Thanks.
All right, we're back on Bear Bets, the big game of the week, or many of the big games. So one of them for us is Oregon hosting Indiana. Oregon 7.5-point favorite right now. Let's start with the guy who's on the other side of Bear and I. Sammy, what do we like in this game?
I love Cignetti. I love Mendoza. I just think it's too many points. My number is closer to 5. It's not that I think Indiana's going to win. I can already see Bear giving me the side eye from my position. Let me throw them chips on the Hoosiers here.
Wow.
Ducks by 3.
I'll take Ducks by 1. I don't care how this ends up, but look, I just think that when you look at the matchups of this game, where is Indiana better than Oregon? You know, people will point to defensive line. Maybe, right? Quarterback, okay, depending on the day, possibly Mendoza's better than Moore. I think Oregon has better players over. They're going to be motivated to play this game, obviously. And Indiana has shown now the last 3 games on the road they played a good defense, right? Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Iowa's defense isn't great, but they're still a good defense. The offense has looked nothing like the offense they have at home. And they're going on the road. It's going to be wet in Eugene. It's going to be a little bit colder. It's going to be windy. You're playing an arrested Oregon team. You're rested as well, Bear. And I just think Oregon is just a better football team. It doesn't mean Indiana's bad or they're not worthy of being ranked where they are. They certainly deserve to be ranked 7th. They're a good football team. They played well. I think Oregon just has advantages all over the field. They can exploit against Indiana. And I think Oregon wins this game. Now, you guys know this. I don't always wager on my team. I'm going to stay away from that. I think Dante Moore, though, right now in DraftKings, 250 yards plus is about even money. I think Moore has a big game. I think Dante Moore has a good game passing. Look at Indiana's defense. They're really strong up in the middle with their defensive tackles. They're not as strong on the edges. I think our wide receivers have some advantages there, Bear. So I think Oregon is able to win this game. I think they cover. I didn't bet on it, but that's sort of where I feel about this game.
You mentioned the numbers about the home road splits, Geoff, and I did not include the Iowa game. But if you look at the Notre Dame game from last year in the playoff, you look at the Ohio State game last year in the regular season, top 5 games on the road, they scored 32 total points. They're outgained by 141 yards a game. Didn't score a touchdown against Notre Dame until it was 27-3 with a minute and a half to go. Scored in the opening drive against Ohio State, but didn't score again until it was 31-7. So whatever it is, quality of competition away from home, it's been a big difference. And now this is a very difficult road test. But it's interesting. Like I get Sammy's point here and potentially liking the dog, because in these top 10 matchups, the spread really hasn't mattered. If you go back to the 2022 championship game, Georgia beating TCU, you've had 37 top 10 matchups, and the spread really hasn't mattered. You've had 14 underdogs win outright, and in that span, the only favorite which won but lost against the number was Texas against Arizona State in the playoff last year. So it kind of leads towards, like, if you like Oregon, just go ahead and lay it. If you like Indiana, maybe just play them on the money line. But I worry how well Indiana is going to be able to run the ball against that Oregon front, because Penn State sure as hell could have won a couple weeks ago. And if they can't, the Indiana right side of the offensive line is going to be eaten alive by Oregon's pass rush. Like I think that's the key of the game right now, is if Oregon stops to run on first down or Indiana runs the ball well on first down, that will determine how this game goes. Now it's time for Super 6 presented by DraftKings. Bear, we will both have columns breaking down later this week, but we have 2 questions about Ohio State, Illinois. How many total points will be scored? And what will the outcome of the big noon Saturday game be? I feel like PD Public here, but I'm going to go favorite and over. I think we're looking at Ohio State with a pretty comfortable win. I think there are 2 things in this game that would concern me if I were an Illinois backer. Number one is how poor their rush defense has been. And we've seen Bo Jackson and those young Ohio State backs getting better as the year goes on. And number 2 is turnovers. I mean, I've joked about the Illinois turnover voodoo doll. They had most points, highest points of turnover differential in the Power 4. Opponents have lost fumbles 8 times, most in the Power 4. 52 points off turnovers, most by a Power 4 team. Turnover margin +7, tied for second amongst Power 4 teams. So they have been relying on turnovers all year to generate points against a team that doesn't turn the ball over very much, and they don't really shoot themselves in the foot with penalties. I know Ryan was alluding to the game at Washington where they had to overcome some things. The fact that they've done that now on the road, I'm not sure they're going to do it again. And the Illinois offensive line, like I said, they have allowed a bunch of sacks, terrible sack rate allowed this year. Doesn't feel like a recipe for an upset, Sammy.
Well, I find myself going against the number 1 team in the country this week. Awesome. And I don't even like Illinois. I went there. I don't even like them. But when you think about where the number was against Washington, it was sub 10, and now we're at 2 touchdowns in Champaign. And I have the game 14 on a neutral, and you have to give some home field to Illinois, even though the place probably won't be sold out. Any belief in Illinois is belief in Altmaier. We know he's one of the most productive, experienced quarterbacks in the Big Ten. Coach Day talked about that as well. I think the number for me, the magic number is 17. If they can get to 17 points, they cover, and that's my bet.
So a couple things, Sammy, that I hate to be the bearer of bad news, continuing in Illinois here, but Bear mentioned the offensive line is bad. We know this already. Like, just watch the film. It's not good. But they're also just not good at other things. Like, so third down.
That's very dismissive, Geoff.
Well, I mean, this stuff matters. I know they've won games, and certainly, I mean, winning games is better than losing games. Third down defense right now in Illinois in the country, 105th in the country. So you can't block. You can't stop the other team on third down. Bear mentioned it. You can't run the ball very well. You can't stop the run very well. I'm going to be opposite of you, Sammy. I don't know. That's to tell you. I hate to be on the other side of you.
It's
but
amazing Illinois could put their pants on.
Exactly.
It is.
I was going to say, this is going to be playing in the Illinois locker room before the...
I hope play in the locker room before the game. Please, great. Mention it to the Bear Bets podcast. Please do that.
It is interesting. Like, you look at the last 4 times that Illinois...
Geoff Schwartz, by the way, if you want to know that.
Exactly. There's been a lot of locker room.
I hope
bulletin
so.
board on material this week around the country. But
wait till we get to USC. Don't worry.
You look at Illinois, the last 4 times they've been a 2-touchdown underdog, they've scored 9, 7, 13, and 17 points. And the 9 and the 7 came last year against number 1 Oregon and number 9 Penn State, when Illinois ranked as a top 20 team. So a little bit of parallel. They've been in this spot under Coach Bielema last year when they were a 10-win team. We'll see how much, if they have improved at all this year.
I bet against Illinois. They played their best game versus Duke. Now I'm on Illinois, and they will get slaughtered.
We're gonna look back at the end of the year when watch Duke make the ACC championship game. We're gonna look back at that and be like, how the hell did that game happen?
There's a couple of those games this year that we're going to look back on. Duke, that win against Cal was impressive. They were down early and came back. We were, I think you ended up being on Duke, right? In that game.
Yes, I was.
35 unanswered by Duke.
Yeah. I went to bed 21-14 because I was dead tired, emotionally drained after Miami. When I woke up and saw, oh my God. 45, 24, whatever.
They're about 13th in the contest right now in college football, right?
11.
11. There we go.
But
11.
I'm
How awesome is that?
Who cares? A lot of paper.
I mean, it's great. I think it's awesome. You can't mention, good things.
I'm 11th in the Superbook contest, college football, and I'm 2nd in the Circa Friday Football Invitational. So it's a good start to the year, as the record in the column would indicate.
Human says you've been betting the Buckeyes a lot too. He's like, he keeps doing it and they keep covering.
I mean, I keep going back to the well. I find myself, I think Ohio State will probably make one of my plays this week for the college contest. Another one that is absolutely going to make a college play this week is Michigan getting 2.5 points at USC. Look, it's quite simple, right? Here, we'll just put, it's a long throw, but we'll make
you need some help. You want to
to the left.
Look, Bear, you're more of a historian of games than my memory serves me. Like, Lincoln Riley's been there now 3.5 seasons. They're in year 4 of a rebuild, which is super impressive to be in year 4 of a rebuild. When have they beat? That's what they say. I'm just repeating what they say. When have they beat?
Usually, like doesn't the rebuild usually
happen in year 1? I thought it does,
especially now with NIL and the portal and your ability to usually happens quickly, right?
It does, but I guess it's year 4.
Indiana did it pretty well last year, right?
Year 4, though. It's year 4. Well, they rebuilt the offense first, and the offense got worse.
Year by year.
The defense next, and it's a rebuild. It takes time. Just give him time, okay? His record's not any worse than Clay Helton's. Oh, never mind. Here's the point. Okay. When I just grew up watching USC, the Pete Carroll. I played the Pete Carroll teams, right? Like they won in the trenches. That's how they beat you. You talk about Leinart and Bush and Lendell White and all those guys, but they won in the
Khalil and then all
those guys. So the entire offensive line got drafted. The entire defensive line got drafted.
Cody,
all those guys. When is this USC team, being a team that can play in the trenches like Michigan? The answer is never. Maybe Notre Dame in 22, but Notre Dame wasn't as good that season. Maybe LSU to start last season, Bear, but we learned LSU's defense wasn't very good. they lost this game last year in Michigan, allowing 290 points and giving up only 36 passing yards, I think.
I was going to say that was a Michigan team that,
couldn't pass the ball. They could pass the ball now. Now, they're not proficient. Bryce Underwood's only completing 60% of passes, but they're doing enough in this game. I need to see it from USC. I need to see them beat a team like this before I even talk about that happening, Sammy. So I'm on Michigan in this game. I think a lot of points are probably scored in this game. USC's off a bye. I like Michigan's defense. I like their defensive line. I like their offense. Their offensive line is fine. It's not nothing special, but they are very good at just sort of prodding and poking, and then all of a sudden, boom, Justice takes that long carry. I just got to see it. So I'll bet on Michigan until I see it otherwise.
I've done nothing with it. I was a little surprised to see this open 55 and get blown right through 57. Now we're 58 at a couple shops, Circa, Westgate, a lot of 57.5 in the market bear. Market betting on offense, which I guess makes sense given it's USC, but USC should be able to get into the end zone, and you would hope that Underwood could as well.
You'd think so, but you look at some of the Michigan statistical metrics, and you look at like opponent adjusted stuff, like they're top 10 in a lot of these, and some of their offensive rushing metrics are through the roof. So I was a little lower on Michigan than most entering the year. But if you look at the,
they're gonna, if they win this weekend, they're gonna be a playoff team.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're looking like 10-2 legit if they win this game, because outside of the game against Ohio State, where are they going to be a dog? You got Washington coming in next week.
Washington is terrible on the road under Jed Fish.
At Michigan State, and then Michigan State defense is terrible. Purdue, at Northwestern, at Maryland, and then the game against Ohio State. So that's why that game at win at Nebraska was so big, to split those games against OU and Nebraska. And if you can get this win this week, say
you're right in that, especially with now Penn State being probably out of a playoff. Someone's got to.
They're like the no on Penn State to make the playoff. Now it's like -1,000.
I would love if they lost to Northwestern. So
they're favored by 21.5 in that game.
Moneyline meow?
Should we moneyline Northwestern? Well, we tried to moneyline, not moneyline. We tried to wager together on the NFL last week, and that didn't go very well for us. So
we had the right side on the Gabriel under. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Do we take a Northwestern straight up?
I am curious though to see the crowd there, see the stadium, to see how full it is. No, I don't think it is.
All right, Bear. Speaking about crowds that will be the opposite of Penn State, this one will be raucous. In Missouri, Alabama's coming to town.
M-I-Z.
Is that the cheer they do there?
C-O-U, exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I-L-L-I-N-I.
There you go. Sammy, what do we think?
I'd be very impressed if Alabama could go in there and win this game decidedly. Selfishly, holding a Ty Simpson ticket for Heisman, I would love him to go off. I'm terrified of laying Alabama here, Bear. I just am. I don't know what it is. I want no part of it.
Yeah, you should be. I like Missouri in this game. This is an Alabama team that has given up a ton of yards on the ground, and Missouri with a week off, with Hardy running the ball, Prabula, the dual threat guy, and it's just a bad spot, I think, for Alabama. Like you look at the Tide 2 weeks ago and the nation's longest home winning streak. Last week, revenge for losing as a 23-point favorite against Vandy. Now you got to go on the road against a hungry team, and the revenge factor is real here. I'm gonna get in the weeds here for you. I know how you people love how I mine for notes and for data and things like that, but I think this matters because it goes into psychology of the situation. 34-0 last year. Drew Pine threw 3 picks. You go back over the last 25 years, you've had 8 instances where you've had a ranked team lose by more than 30 points in a shutout. The following year, 5 of the 8 won outright, 2 lost by exactly a field goal, and the one game that wasn't close was against Alabama in 2015, which wound up winning the national championship. So, there is something to this revenge psychology mattering in teams bouncing back the following year. The other thing that's interesting, too, is if you go back over the last 3 seasons, 2023, 2 best home records in the country, Oregon, 18-0, Missouri, tied for second, 17-1. Oregon, a top 10 matchup at home this week against Indiana. Missouri, home underdog against Alabama. So a couple of big games for a couple of long streaks. Remember, we saw the 2 longest home winning streaks in the country, period, end a couple weeks ago.
Bama better tackle, too. If they don't tackle, it's going to be a long day.
Oregon's 41-1 in their last 42 home games. They've done a good job at home. Look, I think you guys mentioned everything that matters for this game. The one thing that I think is worth bringing up, like, Missouri has not played murderer's row of schedule so far.
No.
How does that matter? I mean, Bama's pretty seasoned for what they've done so far.
Every opponent Alabama has played has entered the game undefeated.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So does that matter at all in this game?
I'll defer to you.
I mean, it should matter, but look, this line opened 4 and got slammed right away. They hung a 4, pow, right to 3. So that says a lot.
All right. Oklahoma, Texas, the Red River shootout. We're still calling it a shootout on this podcast. Can we still
Yes,
call
we
it
are.
that?
Exactly. On this podcast, we're calling it whatever we want. It's our podcast.
Texas favored by 1.5 now. Numbers come down a little bit. Total only 43.5. So we just out of the way now. Who's the first person to report that John Mateer may or may not play this weekend on social media?
There will be multiple tweets this week on John Mateer may play or he may not.
I was told he couldn't grip the ball at the end of last week.
We should have a football in here, by the way.
I know, we should. We have dice, chips,
exactly.
water bottles, Kleenex, and Croupier Chris right here with your little wand. So I was told he couldn't grip the ball last Friday, Saturday.
Is that important?
It seems to be a little important for the quarterback, and it's that broken metacarpal on his right thumb. It can't really do much but heal on its own. So they're going to try and get him out there. I know. Just be careful, though. 3 years ago, I wrote about this on Fox Sports. Dylan Gabriel had a concussion. He got decked in the head against TCU. And I remember texting you saying he's not going to play.
Right.
And then Venables had him out there.
Everybody's
in warm-up.
He's warming up with the first unit.
In full pads underneath the center. And I was getting, guys were calling me. You wouldn't even believe the things they were saying to me. Oh, you did this. I was getting screamed at because it looked like he was going to play. And then right at kickoff, he ran out of the tunnel in gym shorts. So there's going to be a lot of theatrics here. Venables has proven it.
It's just, I can't stand this so much. NFL teams can disclose all this information, and they do just fine. And colleges just can't. Now, I understand waiting till game day, but to put someone out there under center to take snaps, which sounds like it's going to happen. Like he'll be out. Yeah, he will be out and dressed.
Yes.
It's not like Texas is going to go and be like, guys, he's playing. We change all our game.
Yeah, exactly.
You game plan for the offense, and you might game plan for the player a little bit, but the offense is what it is. Now, with Mateer there, they probably have the option to run just in general, like his ability to run might change the offense a tiny bit, but the theatrics of having him under center just to show it's silly to me.
If you're the thing is, first of all, even with him on offensively, this is an offense that if you look at like Power 4 adjusted, like they're in the 50s in terms of like yards per play. So it's not like this is an offense that is moving up and down the field. This is more reminiscent of the Bob Stoops, Brent Venables teams of like the early 2000s before they had that run of Heisman Trophy winners and national champs. They won the national champ in 2000, didn't win it after that, but like the Heisman winners. But like this is more reminiscent of a team that wins with defense. But I'd love to ask you, Geoff, as a player, and certainly as you're not a defensive player, but John Mateer has a broken hand or a cast on his thumb or a soft cast on his thumb, and he's trying to play. Like that's gonna limit your ability for him to run the ball because he's gonna take a shot.
Yeah, and we know that like defenders they try to punch the ball anyways. Yeah, now you're gonna have that there, and look,
his hand as much as the ball.
It's why guys wear, if they have a sprained ankle, they wear spat on both sides, so you can't tell what ankle it is. They wear 2 knee braces, things like that. I'm not saying that guys target knees, but you get the idea there. What also fascinates me about this game, and Bear, you had research on this earlier this week about Sark as a head coach in these big matchups, and he's not James Franklin, but it's not good.
Yeah, no, there are numbers out there. I mean, everyone knows about Franklin 4-21 at Penn State in against top 10 teams, but Sark has struggled in this spot against top 10 teams as the head coach. I mean, 2-5 in top 10 matchups and 7-16 overall as a head coach, including his times at USC and Washington. And I think what's caused this kind of these kind of numbers to surface this week were his reactions after the Florida game, where he was a little. Look, I get being disappointed and maybe a little bit defensive, but
it was very weak.
And there is a shred of truth in what he was saying. You go play a conference road game at a place like Florida. You go play a non-conference road game to start the year at Ohio State and see how you do.
I mean, South Florida will be 1-1.
But yeah, I was going to say, yeah, South Florida did win that game in Florida. But what concerned me last week, Sammy, in that game is, look, their defense was terrible. Like, I don't know how a Florida offense that couldn't get a first down for basically all but one drive against Miami, couldn't stop turning the ball over at LSU. They had close to 500 yards last week in that win. And like, how poor that Texas defense was alarming. Is that going to be something that potentially keeps you off Texas this week?
I bought the dip on Texas. Now, remember, last week I had Florida. We picked it on this show +7. By the time we got home, well, wherever you were, where's Carmen San Diego? I don't even know where you were.
Where was I last?
The line was 4.5. What'd you have for breakfast?
I was in Ann Arbor last week. Yes.
Yeah.
Zingerman's.
That line moved like crazy after our show, and that was nice. That said, the Florida D line against the Texas O line was the difference in that game. I think it was sort of an effort thing too. Florida just dominated, and Texas didn't look like it really cared that much, if that makes any sense. Effort will not be an issue here. I don't think Mateer is going to play. And after betting against Texas last week, I'm on the money line here, cheap, -115.
If Texas has any life whatsoever, this is the game they have to win. They don't have a choice. Oklahoma can, not that they're trying to lose a game, but they can afford a loss, obviously. That's why I think Mateer doesn't play, because there's no reason to rush him back. You can afford a loss and still make the playoff and still do everything that you want to do. And you need Mateer to be healthy the rest of the season. Speaking about Florida, they traveled to A&M after that big upset. A&M is a favorite of 7.5. And Bear, you mentioned something that's important here. Florida on the road, terrible offense. Florida home, a little better offense. They're going to A&M now. I just don't know if Florida can score against A&M. I don't know what we've seen with Lagway against Power 4 teams on the road that makes you think that this is any different than what we've seen previously, unless you think that the offense turned a corner last week against Florida.
And the thing about A&M defensively, they've gotten better. And Notre Dame had some big runs against them, but Auburn couldn't do anything offensively. I know the sack yardage is counted in again for rushing yards. And then Mississippi State, we had A&M last week in here. This is a big game for A&M because they don't have another home game until mid-November. I was curious earlier in the week when this game was kind of in no man's land around 8.5, 9, which way it was going to go. And it came down to 7.5. So it does show a little bit of support for the Gators here. I'm not playing the game. You look at are they kind of? I don't want to call them a playoff lock because if you look at A&M's schedule, this is not a layup this week. And then you got 3 road games against LSU, Missouri, and you still know that game in Austin at the end of the year is going to be difficult. So right now, appear maybe to be the best team in the SEC, but that doesn't necessarily mean I don't think any of these SEC teams are a lock to make the playoff by far.
I would expect a little regression the other way for Florida. Kind of lean to the under in the game. You notice it's right under 47, which is a big key number. Lean to the under, but didn't really make a play.
Yeah, I don't have a play. I'll just be watching this game here. Anything, guys, Georgia-Auburn? Georgia on the road at Auburn.
I laid 3.5 on the look ahead last week, thinking that the game might go up, and it hasn't. I get a little worried here, actually, about this game. Like if you look at like both teams defensively do a hell of a job in stopping the run. The Auburn offensive line has not been able to pass protect for the life of them. So, but Georgia really doesn't generate much of a pass rush. I mean, Georgia has owned this series lately. I think it's what is it, 8 straight going back to like 2017. I have the exact number here. Somewhere, 8 straight, each by at least 7 points, 6 of them by at least 17 points. I don't know if I could bet. It's one of those games that if I bet Auburn, I think I could look very bad because I'm not sure how many points their offense is going to be able to score. They did nothing against A&M, and they did nothing against Oklahoma. And now you come home in kind of try and save your season team against a Georgia team that we know they've gone on the road in a hostile environment and been able to put up points. Granted, the Auburn defense is better than the Tennessee defense. Like I said, I laid it on the look ahead 10 days ago now. Don't know how great I feel about it right now, though.
I like Auburn to win. We'll talk more about that later.
Okay, we will.
You want to do Kent State, UMass?
So right now, UMass. So Kent State,
are they your two lowest power rated teams?
So I have it right here.
So Kent State is according to SP has it at 134 versus 136.
I have Kent State 1 point better than UMass, and they're both 50 points worse than Ohio State and Oregon. 50.
So what are we doing for the game? Is it?
Give me the bleach.
Kent State is hosting UMass. Jeez. Kent State had what? Their win total was 1.5, or was it? So they beat Merrimack by 4.
Barely.
By 4. They lost. They only lost to Buffalo by 3.
And you're coming off of games in consecutive weeks. What, against Florida State and Oklahoma?
Florida State bye week. Oklahoma. They scored 10 points the last 2 games. They will not have another chance to win, I don't think, the rest of the season. So this is it for them right here to get over the win total. Big game for the Flashes.
Big game. Wait, what? This is something we've talked about, I think, on the group thread as well, and we kind of thrown it out there, I think, a little bit time to time. What price would you make the yes/no on there being a 3-loss team in the playoff? Because it kind of feels like, and I hinted at it a little bit with the Texas A&M schedule and the Oklahoma schedule and Alabama if they were to lose this week, like even Georgia if they were to lose this week. Kind of feels like we're going to get a few 3-loss teams, Sammy.
I was going to say minus 110 each way.
I don't make numbers, so it sounds good.
Yeah,
Clip it.
Sounds good.
I might even make it. I'm at 120 or so. I think we're going to get one.
I was doing radio recently, and we had a guy on that does power ratings and games. He's like, Schwartz, I'm sure your power ratings are similar. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. My power ratings are right here, baby. Whatever's in my brain. I don't have any power ratings.
Speaking of power ratings, a team that power rates really high.
Yeah.
And certainly power rates is the best team in the Big 12 is Texas Tech. They got, I think, a tricky game this week against a Kansas team that I know we like and respect, certainly offensively. Like Kansas rates very highly in terms of yards per play on the offensive side of the ball. A couple of games in the Big 12 this week with Kansas, Texas Tech, and then BYU. This week going against Arizona, ASU, Utah. By the way, there's some bad omens for ASU being this big of a dog away from home. Again,
so take Utah.
The history is basically saying take Arizona State,
take Arizona State. Take Utah.
Take Utah. What's the number I'm looking for? You go back since 2017, 20 unranked teams been this big of a favorite. Against a ranked team, those 20 teams, 16-4 straight up. Each of the last 4 wins by double digits. So it's an Arizona State team that's really struggled through the air this year.
Can Utah pass the ball though? That's the same problem they've had for years. That's the only concern with that game. You'll be eyeing those for Big Noon possibly.
Yeah, I was going to say it could be a very significant decision-making process.
I think in Arizona State, Utah is the last game of the weekend. I think so. It's a get right game for everybody, right?
Be great to get out. Be great to get out to the Tempe for.
I'm sure the scenery in Tempe is quite.
Or BYU Utah is a nasty route. I've been to that game a couple of times. Fans do not like each other.
No, they do not. We like the 2-minute drill. We're going to get to it right now.
That was a poor whistle by me.
Favorite over-under of the week, Bear. What do you got?
Missouri team total over 23.5. Maybe Bama will get out of there with the win, but I think offensively, I think Missouri is going to be able to score points. I think the running game will get up and down the field, the dual threat quarterback. I think Missouri does score at least 24, whether it's enough to win the game or cover. I don't know, but I think over 23.5 for Missouri. Is a side that I like.
Buckle up. Wisconsin, Iowa, under 36.5.
I think you're right on that.
If you look at some of those offensive numbers, like like you do like the stat profiles that do like the head to head and like they highlight them in like red or green or yellow or whatever. It's brutal. It's gross.
I thought about Iowa -3. because I just don't think Wisconsin's going to score at all. I just don't think they're going to score at all in this game. I don't.
I think Gronowski's going to play too. I'm hearing like 80%, 85%
Does
chance
that
he's in.
matter?
I like it more for the Gunner because he's big and slow. He is.
But he had one nice long pass against Rutgers.
Remember,
he killed us against Rutgers.
He's better than Dante Moore. I'll never forget that. I like Washington over 35 points against Rutgers on Friday night. We'll talk about that in a few minutes one more time. All right, underdog, I think you went outright, Bear. What do you got?
I think Missouri can win outright. I think Oregon State can win outright. I think Kansas State can win outright, but they're all short dogs right around a field goal or under. One that's north of a field goal that I think can win outright is Air Force. Going to UNLV this week. Tough offense to prepare for a team that has struggled defensively this year. Somehow UNLV is undefeated, and I know Air Force is coming off with a loss to Navy last week, and they got to get up following that, but I think that's a good opportunity as a dog against a team that's undefeated that I think the Flyboys can potentially get right this week.
Aside from Northwestern, you want another dog?
Yeah,
That's gonna win outright? I noticed, because I'm on Auburn, I landed on the Tigers. I noticed that you said you bet Georgia on the look ahead, but it didn't feel like you like it.
I don't like it any.
Okay,
I might be looking to get off of that. I can get off it obviously and just eat the vig and be fine. And I might be doing that.
Eat the vig. All right, I like Auburn.
I like the Oregon State Beavers. I've bet against them many times this season, but they're due. They're due for a win. They've had 3 games this year with a post-game win expectancy of 59% or higher. Like they're due. They're back home against Wake, traveling across the country off an upset win. The Beavers it's not fun to watch them play. They turn the ball over a ton, don't do a lot of great things, but defense getting slightly better. I'll take Oregon State here. All right, Bear. Any last words before we get to our best bets? And unfortunately, no WNBA wagers to talk about this week.
No WNBA.
The Aces are going to wrap that.
And we don't have a World Series or even ALCS nor NLCS to get ready for this year. So
the Blue Jays look good.
Yeah, it was the first couple of games. Their bats were incredible, and of course the Yankees did what I expected the Yankees to do. Under 93.5 wins for me all year. Get hot down the stretch, 14-3 against a bunch of terrible teams, and then
can't field a ground ball to turn 2 before the inning gets away from them.
Well.
Exactly. Goodbye. At least I did bet Toronto in Game 4, which was good.
Oh, good for you. All right, we'll be back in a second with our best bets, everyone. All right, time for our best bets presented by DraftKings Sports. We'll recap what we did, and we'll give you some best bets as well. Bear, we'll start with you.
Best bet this week, I like Missouri plus the 3 against Alabama. Great chance, I think, for the Tigers to win outright. Revenge, like we talked about, off of that 34-0 loss last year. Mobile quarterback, good running game. I think the Tide are a little bit vulnerable. Third straight ranked opponent and 2 emotional games the last couple of weeks. So Coach Drink, I think, off the idle week, I think they are in a great position here to potentially get a monster win. I like Air Force getting 6.5 against UNLV. UNLV survived Laradice last week with that unbelievable weather, with the sleet and whatever. But Air Force, I know typically it's not necessarily always the best thing to want to back an academy after they play another academy and lose a close game. But I think that Air Force running game against a kind of suspect UNLV defense, I think they could hang within that number. The TCU win last week against Colorado was a little alarming. Like they somehow got you the cover, but it was not impressive at all. I think K-State is one of those teams. They lost a couple games early, coin flippy, and they've been playing better the last couple of weeks. So I like K-State to beat plus 1.5. I'm basically saying they're going to win the game. So I like K-State. And then another team that's kind of been flirting with wins lately, Oregon State. Appalachian State very easily could have won. The Houston game very easily could have won. Now you get a Wake Forest team who did get the upset win against Virginia Tech last week. Now you got to travel cross country to Corvallis.
Oregon State is, I mentioned this earlier, Bear, like the teams, sometimes teams are due for wins. Mm-hmm. They're just due for a win. Right. Like I know it sounds silly to wager on games that way, but last weekend they had an 88% post-game win expectancy. Like, Sammy, they're due for a win. It's not always the way it works, but I'm with you on Oregon State. Sammy, what are your best bets?
Well, I'm going to take Indiana, if you haven't already heard. Give me the points. Give me the 7.5 against the Ducks. Think it's a tight game, and you better win that turnover battle, because if you don't, Indiana's going to win the game outright. Protect that football. I'm taking Texas. I don't think John Mateer is going to play. That's my opinion. I have no intel on that. He couldn't even grip the ball last week. Now he's going to come in and play Red River and win the Heisman Trophy. Shorten that, taking them. Old Dominion is the best team you haven't seen yet this season. The market is finally catching up. They're laying 14.5 against Marshall. They have been pounding everybody. Everybody on the schedule, minus their first game, has been pounded. So I do like ODU. And then Illinois. I feel like the magic number is 17. Can Altmaier and Illinois get me to 17? If they can, they're going to cover 14.5 against the Buckeyes.
Wrong with your squad. I like it. You're normally anti-Illinois too. So this is a rarity.
I hate
here.
them.
Yeah, going right there into Illinois. So 17 points, what you need, you think?
I think.
Ooh, they're going to hold Ohio State to 31.
Illinois' offensive line is. I was watching some of the Illinois offensive line against Indiana just to preview. You can't even.
It's one of the worst sack rates allowed in the country.
It's just bad, and they returned all 5 starters. There's a whole conversation to be had about all that.
Correct.
We don't have to do that quite now, but I have.
But we're rooting for you, Sam.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not rooting for Indiana though. I guess I can. I can root for Indiana to win by Oregon wins by 7.
You're not even betting it. So
I'm not betting it. Correct. All right. I don't know.
He's betting it with the heart.
I have 3 best bets. I like Michigan to win at USC, but I'll take the 2.5 here. Look, we talked about this earlier. USC's got to prove it to me. You got to prove it to me. Can you beat a physical team, right? Can a team that can push you around the trenches, can you beat that team? And they haven't shown it yet under Lincoln Riley. They haven't shown it recently. They lost this game last year in a way. I think they're going to lose the game this year. Michigan's going to run all over them. Plus, you add an Underwood, right? You add a better quarterback. The Michigan's 3rd big road trip, like they've done this before. They're not going to be concerned about flying out west. I'm not sure Sharon Moore is going to make the excuse we've heard from the coach. We have to fly out west. No excuses in Michigan. They're going to go out to the Coliseum. 21,000 Michigan fans there. They're going to win this game. USC's offense, by the way, just started fast every year. Start fast, kind of peer down a little bit as we get going here.
Can you imagine that, Sammy? Jeff just bet against USC
every week.
Never happens.
Here's something that never happens. I see that purple W logo up there on the board. Yeah. You're talking about something that doesn't happen.
I got Washington over 35 points against Rutgers this weekend. Rutgers off a bye. I get it.
Friday game,
cross
right?
country. What?
It's a Friday game.
Friday night game. Yeah. FS1. Rutgers is just really bad on defense. Like, I can't stress this enough. They used to be good in defense. They're not anymore. Right now, they're 9th in the country in points per drive. Their rushing defense right now is 112th in the country. Washington can run the ball well. They can throw the ball well. I know their offense got tamped down against Ohio State. That's not Ohio State's defense, right? They're back home. I think they're going to roll Rutgers. I don't know if they cover the 10.5, but I think they score a bunch of points here. The last one for me, guys, is the over between UCLA and Michigan State. Michigan State, the over's hit in 4 straight games. Bear, you watched a little bit last week. They're atrocious.
Unfortunately,
they're bad. They're bad on defense. They're not great on offense. UCLA guys, they made the coaching change. They went to Northwestern, didn't go very well in the first half. They scored 2 touchdowns in the first half. Then scored 6 touchdowns against Penn State. Like, they're playing better offensively. They're unlocking what Nico can do. I'm a tad worried this is one of those body clock early games for UCLA, but I like the over anyways, a 55.5.
I can't believe those are all Big Ten plays, by the way. That's crazy that those are all Big Ten games.
I most just wager on Big Ten games.
Right, but it used to be Pac-12.
Correct. Yes.
That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
time for expansion.
It's crazy, right?
The new way of the game. But I'm unfortunately going to have to play a little UCLA money line, I think, in that game to get off my under 1.5. But appreciate everybody again for tuning in on FS1, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get our podcast. For Jeff, for Sammy, I'm Bear. Less you bet, more you lose when you win.